Hey everybody, Chris Lagarde here with the Chris and Caleb Real Estate Team, where we're committed to dramatically impacting lives through real estate. As always, just want to remind everybody we are constantly looking for talent, whether you are in real estate or not. This week I'm just going to say, if no makes you excited to get the results you want to get and prove people wrong, I would love to talk to you. So if you're thinking about joining real estate or you're in real estate and would love to make over $100,000 without all the hassles, responsibilities, and expenses of a single agent, please give me a call. All right, so here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what the real estate market's doing. A little overdue for this. Usually I do it in the beginning of the month, but with traveling to Texas and helping out with Houston and some other things going on, I wasn't able to do that. So now we've got it. So let's take a quick look at the stats. All right, so here you've got all four of the major stats that I keep track of: demand, supply, sold to list ratio, inventory accumulation. Really with, I'm going to come back to that in a second. With everybody coming back from vacations, traditionally the fall market is like a second spring. It's like kind of the second rejuvenation. July, August get very slow, very quiet. We don't hear a lot from people. Though this summer it wasn't quite as quiet as maybe it usually is. The market didn't slow down as much as it usually did. So we've anticipated a pretty active fall market. However, what we're seeing is it's in very specific places it's an active fall market. So let me get into the details and then I'll give you a little bit more information about that. All right. So here's demand is in the top left corner. Demand has been, man, it's been up. It's about the most demand we've seen since probably the last peak back in 2005 to 2007. So we last month we saw a little bit of a drop. You can see there for July, which is the second J in the middle of the graph. It was a little lower than this time last year, but then August, which is where I've run the statistics up to at the moment, they're slightly up over last August. So most of the year has been more active than last year. So, you know, what does that say? Well, it's an active market, right? I'll explain what that means for buyers and sellers in a minute. Supply, that is the top right corner. It's supply and inventories are showing slight signs of slowing. As you notice a gap between the difference between the blue and the yellow, which is blue is this year, yellow is last year. There's been a wider gap, I should say, from January through maybe May. And then you notice in June, July, August, it's gotten a little closer from where it was last year. So it seems that things are maybe slowing down a little bit. So there was at the highest point, the difference was basically 23% over last year, is an increase of 23% or 600 homes. That's the gap between what was sold, what the inventory was last year and then this year. Now there's a gap of only 200 homes. So that gap's getting smaller and smaller and has been over the last 3 months. So let's take a look at the sold to list price ratio, which is the bottom left-hand corner. It's been very, very high, actually. It's been a pretty high sold to list price ratio. So you know, that's great for sellers. They're getting quite a bit. And what that means for buyers is that, you know, it really, you have to really compete at a very high level. And so I tend to think that what we're seeing right now may be the peak. I don't know. Only time's going to tell that. But we've seen a very high list to sale price ratio, which means that, you know, it's just not usual. So it's good to see that for sellers, but very difficult for buyers because they got to compete at a very high level. So what's the conclusion here is that we're still in a very strong seller's market. So still in a very strong seller's market where there's basically 2 to 3 buyers for every well-priced, well-conditioned homes, and multiple offers are the norm, not the exception. Now, I will say that in areas like maybe Coatesville, west of Downingtown, west and some north and south, things are slowing a little bit because we're seeing some listings in the Coatesville area sit longer than what they were. So, you know, again, it's a matter of being priced right and conditioned right and listening to feedback from buyers. You know, if there's some updates that need to be done on the outside or some sprucing up that maybe spend a little bit of money, you might get a lot back for that and actually get the house sold if it's been sitting. So if it's priced right and conditioned right, it should sell pretty quickly, and especially in the Downingtown, Westchester, or east of that, things are flying off the shelf in less than a few days, and sometimes not. You know, we've had a few listings that recently that didn't even hit the market. We did a coming soon sign and we had so many calls on it that it just, it flew off the market before we could even really open the door to it. We had a really good offer and the sellers wanted to run with it, so it's the way it kind of goes sometimes. So as a buyer, you have to continue to be aggressive in your pursuit of a home. You're going to continue to have a lot of competition. So that leads me to say you better have a great agent on your side that's ready to jump when you ask, that can get out there quickly, get you into homes, and when you get into them, you need to be ready to evaluate that home quickly. So you better have done your homework to know really what it is you want in a house. This is a big decision, right? You don't really want to rush it, but in this market, you have to, except unless you do your homework ahead of time. So if you do your homework before you go into homes and you know exactly what's important to you, you can identify those homes real quick and say, yep, this is it, let's go for it. And you're going to know whether you're going to want to pay over asking price if necessary or not. So for sellers, make sure your home is priced right, not leaving too much on the table, not being too high, too low, and that your home is in the best possible condition, period. So we use stagers to help us get homes ready for sale. They're the experts, and we tell our clients, definitely listen to them. They're going to give you suggestions. They're going to give you some things to do. Maybe, maybe not, but they're going to help you with that and figure out what the most powerful things to do are. Last thing you should go do is redo a kitchen or a bathroom, something like that. You're not going to get all of that money back. That's the truth. Spend 20, 30 grand on a kitchen. That doesn't mean your home's worth more, $20,000 or $30,000 more, right? So for both buyers and sellers, like I said, you want to make sure you have the right agent by your side, one with a great recent experience. I talk to a lot of agents that have been in the business 20, 30 years, and that's fantastic. However, when you look at their history, they've been only selling a few handful of homes each year, maybe 4 to 6, and that's fine, that's great. However, in my humble opinion, if I were to choose an expert, I want somebody that does a lot of that type of business that I'm looking for, so that they know exactly what's going on in the market. Especially in real estate, things can change on a dime. You have a news story or an election that happens and things just flip real quick. So you want to make sure you have somebody that has their ear to the ground and is doing a decent amount of business. And so lastly, if you're thinking about selling, now's the time to call us. Even if it's 18 months out, that's fine. We want to talk to you, want to help you. We can get a stager in your house, help you get things ready. That way you're not making changes and updates to the house last minute. You've got a period of time to do that. So if you're interviewing people for the job, we would love to help you and interview for the job to help you buy or sell, one of the two or both. So that's it. If you guys, last thing I'll say is October 12th, we have a first-time or a home buyer happy hour coming up in Downingtown. So if you're thinking about buying a home, your first home mostly, or if it's thinking about getting into the market of buying one and it's been a while since you've done it, come on out. We're going to have free food, free drinks at Melito's. It's going to be, I believe, from like 6 to 7:30 or 6:30 to 8, somewhere around there. If you're interested, reach out to us. We've got a link where you can reserve your seat. So with that said, it's been great talking with you guys, and please leave comments. Please share this. I'd love for this to be more interactive and hear from you guys. What questions do you have about the market? What do you need to know? What do you want to know? And that's it. So hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll talk to you guys soon.